Welcome back to our post-game wrap-up of the 2021 AFL Grand Final. Congratulations to the Melbourne Football Club. Absolute winners in the end. It was quite extraordinary. 21 goals, 1,440 to 10,666. And let's not forget that at the 12-minute mark of the third quarter, it was the Western Bulldogs who led by 19 points. And, Jono, they looked like they were one kick away from taking a big step towards winning the premiership. Not to be. Congratulations to all the Melbourne fans. Get one of these. Mark Knight's magnificent poster. You are premiers for the first time in 57 years. And what a way to do it, with your greatest ever victory in a grand final, making it pennant number 13. And Norm Smith's curse has been buried in Perth. A fantastic game of football. It had everything. In the end, it was a slaughter in the last quarter. But, wow. How about that?
Imagine what odds you would have got halfway through the third quarter that Melbourne were going to win by, it was 74 points in the end. So
absolutely.
Just unbelievable turnaround. Obviously, we'll get to it, but incredible. The game, we thought we were going to get the result, a really tight game all the way. It was just amazing, the game that just turned on its head on the back of some great play by Petrarca.
Guys, thanks to Industry Super. They've been fantastic supporters of everything that we do here at Fox Footy. When it comes to Super, there's only one symbol you look for, that one right behind me there. That's it, the Industry Super Fund. First reaction from you, Nick Revolt.
Speechless, to be honest, Ed. I thought halfway through the third quarter there, it had the makings of one of the great grand finals. Certainly sitting here at half-time, it was the contrast from the first quarter to the second quarter. It was set up beautifully. The way the Bulldogs opened up in the third quarter, we were strapped in. We were thinking, here we go, this is going to be an absolute ripper. And in the space of 15 minutes, it almost turned into an anticlimax, if you like, from a neutral spectator's point of view. Wonderful if you're a Melbourne supporter, but for all of us that wanted a great game to be able to hang on until the last second, it vanished into thin air in just such
57 years.
Unbelievable.
When your last two appearances have resulted in a 96-point defeat and a 60-point defeat, so it was about 156 points combined. I reckon they were happy to just...
Of course you take it.
Going.
Hey, we're going to go into the rooms. We're going to speak to Gary Lyon in a few moments' time. We're going to get all the interviews inside the Melbourne rooms. We're going to go through all the highlights, so stick with us here on Fox Footy. If you're a Melbourne fan, you're going to enjoy this next hour. Don't worry about that. Jono, for the Dogs fans, we see it all the time now in football, and particularly, I think, in the COVID football season that we had, that when a team hits the wall, and we saw it last year, Geelong, halfway through the second quarter, bang, it hit. And today, the Dogs, as I said, at the, the 12-minute mark of the third quarter, 19 points up, one hand on the cup, and then boom, steamroll.
Yeah, it was amazing. It's an empty feeling at the moment. Of course, all Dogs fans will be feeling that and the position they were in halfway through the third quarter. But we've got to celebrate the Ds. We really do. On the back of that, it was just powerful. Yeah. It was unbelievable what they were able to do in their midfield to turn the fortunes of that game. It's a big congratulations to the Melbourne Football Club. And look, we as Bulldog fans, we lived in 2016 what they're living at the moment. So celebrate hard, enjoy every single moment that you're going to experience over the next 24, 48, 3 months, because it's big. So well done.
You three, superstars of the games. There's another one who's etched his name now in the Parthenon of champions, and that is Christian Petrarca. Let's have a look at the 18 minutes of greatness that turned the game.
Yeah, amazing. I saw this firsthand about 19 years ago, not to rub it in, Eddie, from my great captain, Michael Voss. And that's why they get known as great players, because they sense the moment on the biggest stage, and they turn a game of football in their team's favour. And 18 minutes, it was just amazing what he did. The involvements in the scores there, Rui, and they were clean clearances, weren't they? Out the front of those centre bounces, and they're the most dangerous clearances you can give up. He was magnificent.
Yeah, it's the how and the when, I think, that made it ultra impressive. Yeah. So Bontempelli kicks that goal to put them 19 points up, and at the time you're thinking, gee, Bontempelli's got a hand on the cup, and
he was dominating the game at that point.
He looks like he's going to win the Norm Smith.
Yeah.
Petrarca, in the midfield, he's sort of almost a direct match-up, really, isn't he, in terms of like for like. And from that point in time, he single-handedly, when Melbourne's season was slipping away after being so dominant, he was the one that turned the game back in Melbourne's favour. And in the blink of an eye, they were back in it, and then they ran away with it. It was a powerful was the word you used, Johnny. It was a powerful period of time.
Let's just read these figures out. I mean, look at the bottom too. Scores from clearance 30 points to zip. Scores 43 to zip. Clearance is 8-4. Contested possessions and dominance, disposals 49. In that period, as I said, Bontempelli put them 19 points up the Dogs. They'd kicked 8 of 9 goals, the Dogs, and were on fire. From that moment on, Melbourne kicked 16 of the next 17 goals.
Last 45 minutes, Ed.
Including 12 in a row.
100 points to 7.
Wow.
In the last 45 minutes.
It's huge.
A smashing that you just did not see coming. I mean, you talk about Melbourne's ability to just get you in a variety of ways. Melbourne haven't relied on any one thing all year, and I think we saw the perfect encapsulation of Melbourne in that 45-minute period. The game just wasn't going their way, but it didn't matter. They were able to just find another way to get on top of the opposition. We saw them do it against the Cats, all from stoppage. Today it was a combination of both. But it was... it was a true reflection of what we've seen this year.
They got 3 in a row to get it back to 1 point. And you thought, OK, this is going to be the game from this point on. It's going to just ebb and flow. It had the momentum swings and you think it was going to even out. So for them to go on and win by 74 points from that minute, that point in the game, it's ridiculously good.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. Like, we sit here, I was still stunned in some ways to what we just witnessed in terms of Melbourne and their ability to break open a team that's been hard to score against all year in the last 35 minutes of the game.
Amazing what a shot of adrenaline gives you.
Wow.
All of a sudden, Harms gets that clearance. Bailey Smith come rushing through that boundary throw in and he fumbled it. Harms gets it, hits Fritz lace out.
Yeah, good call.
All of a sudden, bang. And then straight out of the next centre bounce, goal. All of a sudden, Melbourne looked energised, didn't they? Goody had some colour back in his face. 2 minutes early, he's standing on the bench. He looked like a panicked man.
When Fritsch was standing over that kick, it was a feeling like, gee, this almost has to go through for Melbourne.
You're right,
it almost has to go through. 100 points to 7 from that moment on.
He had ice water running through his veins. Fritz, he looked like he handled the moment beautifully.
Well, could you believe it? Number 31.
The
number, Ron Barassi's number.
Good, isn't it?
Ron, I hope you're watching tonight, mate. Just one of the all-time great people. But as we said, there are a few now in the pantheon of greats in AFL football as a result of that game, and particularly, as you said, 16 of the last 17 goals, Nick, to finish it off. It was a huge, huge win for the Melbourne Football Club. If you're going to wait that long, you may as well do it in style. And 57 years of copping it left, right and centre. This was a team that was going to be merged. Everyone talks about the merger with Hawthorn. People forget there was a merger on with North Melbourne in the 80s where it was all done. Everything except picking the president. They're going to be known as the Melbourne Kangaroos. They're going to play at the MCG, train at Arden Street. And this is long before we had the merge with Hawthorn, which, of course, was voted for from the Melbourne side of things. And as a result today, 2 teams that should have been merged out of existence didn't and put on an amazing spectacle. So well done to everybody involved in the football clubs. Well done to Kate Roffey in her first year. She came in. That's not a bad sub, is it? After about round 4 or 5 or something, she came. And,
it's an easy game for her.
Oh, it's fantastic. Well, the women presidents are dominating.
They are, aren't they?
That's true.
Congratulations to everyone at the Melbourne Football Club, to all the supporters, to all the people who have done it tough this year as Melbourne have got on a roll. I hope you've really enjoyed it. We're for the next 6 months, and in this case, they own the 2 cities.
Might stay in Perth, I reckon, and celebrate.
Yeah, well,
not a lot they can do here.
I spoke to Gary Pert the other day about this, and he actually told me some of the players will come back. Obviously, Max Gordon's wife's about to have a baby, and some of the other players who are parents, etc., will come back. Some will come back. The others are going to be let loose over in Perth and to all parts of the globe from wherever they can go from there.
I was a young bloke, I know where I'll be staying.
And they will have... Gary Pert tells me a big function at the MCG once things open up. They think in December. So there'll be a lot of celebrating to be done, but they'll all get there. Now, let's go back to Christian Petrarca. What an amazing game of football. I thought every time he got the ball, Brownie, particularly early on in the game, he owned the first quarter. Bontempelli fought back, and then Petrarca won the game. But
there was the acceleration, there was the assertiveness, but there was finesse at times as well. And I thought it was just a complete game. I mean, the numbers don't lie, do they?
It's unbelievable.
And for the first time ever, a Melbourne player has the Norm Smith medal. The great Norm Smith. So well done to Christian Petrarca. It's everything. It's a boyhood dream for every young boy dreaming of playing in this game to have a night like this one.
You would hope, based on the game rankings there, that it was unanimous in the voting, wouldn't you?
Yeah. The only one would be Bailey Fritsch, I suppose, who kicked 6, but Yeah.
Fritsch was a bit of the cream on top of it. I mean, that is a domination. That's the right headline for that one.
You'd like to see the behind the goals vision, but it looked as if Dunkley had his match up early on, which was surprising. I thought Dunkley was going to go to Oliver. But, you know, he looked like he spent about 10 or 15 minutes on him. And so it's hard with Petrarca because he floats forward out of the stoppage, so he doesn't play that inside midfield position. Then Dunkley eventually moved on Oliver, but the problem was Oliver was off the chain there as well, so poor old Dunkley's head would have been spinning by quarter time, wouldn't it, Ed?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Hey, Bailey Fritsch is a young kid. We heard about him, we watched him make his debut, and we've always, in our commentary box at the MCG, loved the way he's kicked always at goal. He's a beautiful kid.
It's Darren Jarman in '97 when he ripped the heart out of the St Kilda supporters when Jarman kicked 5 in that last quarter.
6 for the game. So let's have a look now at Clayton Oliver, another player who, when it was on early on, and when they started breaking out of the centre, Oliver was one of the key players.
Power on the outside, Eddie, and not just be always in, you know, nose in the trough and winning that ball. He can now break away from clearance as well.
Petrarca and Oliver are going to win a lot of the plaudits, and rightfully so. Terrific players, the architects of that win. So, but we wondered about the role of Viney coming into the final series. 12 clearances tonight. Yeah. That's the second most he's had in his career.
He set the tone at the first bounce.
He did, absolutely. He was terrific as well.
Yeah, great stuff, and a great name too at the Melbourne Football Club. There's a kid who literally...
His old man's had a fair bit to do with this list build as well.
Very much so. Todd Viney, of course, and former vice-captain and captain. I think it might have been captain for a while, but certainly was vice-captain in that grand final they played back in 2000, and a ripping bloke. So, Todd, if you're watching, mate, enjoy this one. He's just been a great stalwart of the Melbourne Football Club, and Jack grew up in the room. Yeah. So, I mean,
we saw it the other year, didn't we, with Tony Liberatore watching who'd gone so close, then watching his son achieve it and what that meant to him. I'm sure it's the same sort of emotion with Todd and Jack Viney.
Well, they're all sons of Gary Lyon, and we're going to cross the gas in the rooms at the Melbourne.
Wow. It's worth it, Ed. It's been worth it.
It has.
2 weeks in purgatory.
We've got the 2 best teams in the competition. It's really about handling the occasion.
From my heart of hearts, I hope they absolutely win tonight.
Every heart is beating true. 57 long years. The Demons are premiers in 2021.
The Melbourne Football Club, once known as the Fuchsias, before Checker Hughes said to them, get out and play like demons. And they did, and they won a famous victory back in the 40s. And from that moment on, the Demons became one of the big clubs in AFL, VFL football back in those days. The oldest club in the world, certainly in Australia, the foundation club of our great game of Australian rules football. And today, one of their greatest champions was able to stride up onto the stage and present Max Scorn and Simon Goodwin with the Premiership Cup. His name is Gary Lyon. He's our partner in crime here at Fox Footy, and we find him in the rooms of the Melbourne Football Club. Gary, congratulations, mate. It was just wonderful. We were cheering you up onto the stage, mate. What a night it's been for you. Hug everyone, bring them all in for a chat, mate.
No, I tell you what it is. It's just, you have, you dream about it, you think it, you watch clubs go through this in the last 10 years, Geelong and the Swans and the Bulldogs in 2016, and you sit there hoping one day you're going to get to experience it. And halfway through the third quarter, I'm thinking we're shot again here, but they rallied, and I just looked at the scoreboard. I can't believe it. It just blew my mind what they did halfway through the third quarter and beyond, and this is a place you want to be right now. This is what it's all about. I know you got Rui. Have you? I don't even know who you got with you.
Yeah,
Rui.
Brownie and Rui. Rui's got one for you.
I'm here, mate.
That's it. Well, Brownie's experienced rooster, and now got to get your Saints boys up, mate, because it's everything that you would think it is. And we haven't played, but we've got there. And Christian Petrarca's just walking through here. He's got his mates, he's got his brothers. Just say good day to Fox Footy here, will you, if you wouldn't mind. Petrarca, Norm Smith medal. Can you believe that?
No, I can't. Unbelievable. I can't put into words, to be honest.
Put your brother back up. You better talk to him at the same time.
What's up, boys?
Halfway through the third quarter, it gets out to 19 points. Were you concerned or not?
A little bit. They're an unbelievable team. Half-time was a bit flat. Yeah, but we're an unbelievable group. We're so resilient. We just persist all day, and to get the result like that's unbelievable.
Go and talk to your brother. Off you go. We'll just grab him as we go. Got Angus Brayshaw hanging around here somewhere. He's going to come and have a chat with us in a moment. But it's quite extraordinary.
Hey, Gazza, can you wrap your head around... So the last 45 minutes of the contest, we were just talking about it before, it was 100 points to 7.
Oh, was it?
The last 45 minutes, 100 to 7.
As it's just a stunning turnaround, you know. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking we can't let them get another goal here. It might get out of hand. And the Bont was running wild, and I kept looking at Bailey off the back of the pack there, and I'm thinking, Jesus, what are they doing? And they stuck with it, and it just, I thought, I don't know what you boys still haven't heard you, but Luke Jackson going into the ruck in the middle, that's the NAB rising star in a grand final. I mean, what about the upside for that bloke? So, and they allowed Max to get forward, and then all of a sudden, Petrarca started going. And this fella, James Jordan, has got the Premiership Cup in his hands and won. Oh, sorry, James Jordan.
Oh, Trent
Rivers it is. Trent Rivers. I'm a bit excited here, mate. What about that? Can you believe it?
Nah, it's lost for words. And having all the family and friends here has just been unreal as well.
You're a Western Australian boy, so how many of the crew are here?
I got 17 tickets and then had a few other mates rock up as well, which was really nice.
We've got Nick Revolt sitting back here looking at this, mate, and he's been through, as you would know, one of the great careers and wasn't able to get one of these. Can you believe that?
Nah, I mean, I'm so young as well, and, we've got such a great group here, and, obviously we'll soak this up, but we're looking forward to doing it again next year.
And the Western Australian people came out tonight and put on a show. This stadium is magnificent.
Oh, I mean, they just erupted for us, and there were so many more of the Melbourne fans, and we appreciate every single one of them.
Well, Trent, you go and enjoy that, mate. Take that to the Western Australians. There might be a beer or two in that throughout the night.
Yeah, we'll save
Grab
that for later.
Grab Maxi over your left shoulder.
There, mate. Here he is, the captain. Now, what about this? Ronald Dale Barassi, the Premiership captain of the Melbourne Footy Club's just wanted in here. Maxwell Gawn, can you believe that?
That's pretty special, eh? That was a long time coming. That's 11 years for me, but 57 years for the majority of other people that have been supporting us. So it's been some pretty grim days, but today's pretty special.
I know you've got a great appreciation for everyone at home, and there's a whole hundreds of thousands of people, and some old Melbourne boys have been wearing this jumper, have been feeling it and doing it tough, and they've come together in a magnificent way. And you got a message for those boys back there?
There's something weird going on with our past player group. It seems to be the strongest group, and there is a lot of tragedy that's followed the club. We've had Troy Broadbridge, Dean Bailey, Jim Steins, obviously what Neil Danaher's going through at the moment, Colin Sylvia. We've had a lot of tragedy that's followed the club, and it's really bonded that group. And I feel privileged to be part of the Melbourne Football Club and part of that group. I'm not a past player yet, but I feel like I'm part of that group. And I can imagine your phone is going absolutely off the charts with messages from that group. And you see a couple here, Chris Johnson, Shane Malwoden, Danny Hughes, Jack Tringrove's coming in.
Big Bernard Vince is here.
Yeah,
He's
Bernard's got
about 45 cans, I reckon.
So it just shows how special this is for this group.
So people talk about the Premiership, and then I'm sweating like a pig here. You build it up, and then it arrives. I know it's only early days, but it is everything you hoped it to be. What was that lap like?
That lap was pretty special. I mean, I love Perth and I love what it's done, but it would have been so much special if there was friends and family and Melbourne supporters that were here, but that 100,000 Melbourne supporter crowd that could have been at the MCG, it would have been really special with that, but it was so special with the adopted crowd that we had and the loyal guys that have travelled from South Australia and whatnot, and it was some good moments.
You see Neil Danaher there in the corner, Evie sitting back watching that. I mean, what a thrill for him and for all of that. Now, Ronald Barassi, the legion of ex-Demons are just watching. I can't believe how they'd be feeling right now.
Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. Neil Danaher's quote was posted all around our walls tonight. It's when all is said and done, more is said than done. And it's about, we've talked lots this year about how we've culture changed, our selfless approach, how Clay Noller and Christian Petrarca are balancing. We've talked that. It was our time to deliver, and that's Neil. That's exactly what he said to us, and that's what I said in my captain's speech. And although we got tested throughout that second quarter, and you would have been a little bit nervous, as we all were, but Neil was living for us tonight.
What about the coach, Simon Goodwin, who low profile, low key, but what an impact he's had on your group? Just tell us a little bit about him.
He just holds such a calm head, and I get that people get frustrated by his press conferences because he does give the same answers, but we love that. He's that rock solid coach that we need. I mean, he goes off chops every now and then, as all coaches do, but he's just so rock solid. And today, the way they nutted out what Western Bulldogs would give us, and then Western Bulldogs had to change their way they were playing in the second quarter because we were winning, and then we were able to combat that after half time. That's just great on-field coaching. So I know people were calling maybe for his head at the start of the year. That's how funny this rise has been. We've gone from 17th to 9th to 1st, but he's a tremendous coach, tremendous person, and a great friend. You're a Premiership captain, mate. It doesn't get any better than that. That won't sink in for a while, I don't think. At the moment, I'm a Premiership player. The whole captain thing, I've got to pinch myself at times. This club's been through a lot, and we finally got it.
Best thing about winning him is celebrating him. I reckon you might do a bit of that in the next day or two.
I think I'll be behind May and Hibbard. Hibbard's a strong favourite. Actually, Bernie Finns is probably the strong favourite.
Bernie's way out in front, mate. He's got a big head start on you. I'm giving you a tip right now.
We got 2 or 3 days in Perth, which will be good.
Enjoy, mate.
Thanks, guys.
Hang on, mate. Johnny Brown's got a question for you.
What about his pub back here in Melbourne? Will it be an open bar when it opens back up in a couple of months?
Brownie wants to know whether you're going to have an open bar when everything opens up back in Melbourne.
I thought he was going to go with a Durry question. Open bar. We had a little action today at East End 1 bar today, but it's closed. We've got to get Dan Andrews to open that hospitality section back up, but I will. Once it's open bar.
Go and enjoy it, mate. There he is. Just, if he wasn't already a legend of the footy club, he is now, boys.
Gary,
Premiership captain.
What happened there with the lights? Was that just somebody mucking around, or was there anything happening there?
No, I think someone might have landed on the light switch edge. I know. The old journo when you're looking for a story, but I think someone just accidentally pushed it off.
Tell you what, there might be a few people down the East End Wine Bar in a couple of months ahead with an open bar.
I think so.
Hold Maxie to that promise.
Hey, Gaz, can I just ask you once again, mate? We watched you the other week when Melbourne got on a roll in the preliminary final. When Bontempelli kicked that goal to go 19 points up, what was it, and when did you start to think, hang on, we have got them? Because as Rui said, kicked 16 of the next 17 goals, including the next 12 unanswered. Yeah. When did that rush, just for you personally, for all the Melbourne supporters, how did it feel?
It's happened so quick, Ed. So we were just sitting there looking at it and going, 19 points is dangerous, you know, we can't give up another one. And Melbourne kicked 2 quick ones. I think Fritsch was involved. 3. What about him? Yeah. 6 goals. And so when we got back within a 6-point margin, I thought, OK, going back on here. But then it was just staggering how quickly it happened. And in the blink of an eye, I looked up and thought, geez, that's 6 goals here. I think we're in pretty good shape. And probably when it got to 50, that's when I started to relax. So it was unbelievable. You know, I can't explain it, boys. I just can't. It switched on a dime. I thought the Bont was going to rip it apart, you know, and they were dangerous all over the ground. And they've turned it around into 74. I can't get my head around that. 74 points in the end.
Gary, I had a lot of Melbourne friends. Rob Sitch, of course, is a great friend of yours and who launched your book back in the day. And Rob asked me one time, he said, what's it like? What's it like? And I said, well, everything you've ever thought it's like and more and better. Yeah. And is that your feeling right now?
It is. It is. It is. I spoke about this a lot over here in the last couple of days because people, you know, wanted to say, well, what's this mean to the Melbourne Footy Club? And it's exactly that. I mean, we looked at the Western Bulldogs back in 2016 and we showed vision, and it just, you saw the tears in the eyes, you saw the emotion of the supporters, you knew how much it meant to them, and you just looked at it and said, I want that. You know, we want that. The Melbourne faithful want that. And heartache and tragedy has been a bit of a theme with this footy club in recent times, and Maxie just spoke about it. Robbie Flower's daughter's in the room here somewhere, which is just, you know, so uplifting for everyone. So that's why the win tonight was significant. So the heartache and tragedy is real. It's a part of our history, but we've wiped it. We've got a premiership, and I've never seen a happier footy club, I'm telling you right now.
Gaz, now that's wiped, as you put it, so Trent Rivers, before he comes over with the cup, and he's already talking about wanting to do it again next year. You've got 7 players under 21. Can you smell a dynasty?
I'm not going to get greedy, Rui. But, yeah, I think any team that wins and plays a season that they have, I mean, we'll go back and analyse this as one of the great seasons. You know, they dropped a couple unexpectedly, but every time they were tested by a top team, they came up and came through, and they got some talent coming through. And when you got NAB Rising Star nominees like Rivers and Bowie and Jackson running around, and there's another 2 or 3, I reckon, in that team this year. I think there were 4 or 5 nominations.
Bowie and Sparrow and these young blokes.
Yeah, Spargo. Yeah, I mean, geez, there's some talent, and it's a spine that's going to stand up for a while, I reckon. So I think they're in good shape, Rui, but...
well, Gary, the history of the Melbourne Football Club, it's feast or famine, hasn't it? They dominated the 50s and the early 60s, and then there was nothing for a fair while. But you've got another one there, and I can't help but think, Gaz, when you look back at recent times, as you said, you know, there has been that spectre of devastation and even death around the club. The club itself almost was put down in the 80s, I mentioned before, a merger with North Melbourne, which people forget about. Then, of course, the famous one with Hawthorn. All these things going. Now you've got a club that's got the premiership. You're the premiers, not contenders, but you're the premiers. You've just put $24 million in the bank for the first time ever. You're not on your knees. You've now got the opportunity to build a home base, which remarkably, after all these years, hasn't really been there. And the MCG is just awaiting now, and big crowds and the MCC members, all that sort of stuff. You must be just so proud of your club as a bloke who carried them through so many hard times.
Not just me. I said before there's a whole legion at home, and I want to get to those boys in a moment because they'll be watching. But Jack Bowie joins us. Game number what, young man?
7.
Game number 7. You're a premiership player. Can you believe this?
Not really, no.
I'll say it again. Nick Revolt, I can hear him laughing, sitting back there. He's played 340 and didn't get his hands on one of these. You feel guilty or not?
Not really.
No, you shouldn't, mate. Your composure since you've come into this senior lineup has been absolutely sensational. How do you feel?
It doesn't feel real. I didn't think I was going to play any games this year, and then, came in, and then, here we are.
What round did you debut?
Round 20.
Round 20, you get in the side, you think maybe I'm in for 1 or 2. Your form was really good. It stood up pretty well. You got good players that are breathing down your neck. Do you feel the pressure every week?
You definitely feel the pressure of being dropped, and it's not a great one, but I just try to play my role each week and use my foot skills, and I did that pretty well.
We talk about grand finals as being this beast. The game itself is just intense pressure. How every time you get the ball in your hands, it looks like you got time, which is always a sign of a great player. I mean, how was it different tonight?
Obviously, there's added pressure, and I was obviously more nervous, but it's just another game of footy, as Dad says, and every time I get the ball, I just want to put it on a teammate's chest, and I think I did that pretty well tonight.
Dad played for St Kilda, just under the 100 games, I think.
Yeah, so we have a good joke going that we've played 92 games together now, so...
You've been able to get on the phone, have a chat with him?
I spoke with him on the radio, and it was in tears, and just FaceTimed him before, which was awesome.
Plenty of tears, mate. It's as good a 7-game career as you can possibly have. Get out and enjoy it. That's the storylines everywhere. I want to try and get the coach if I can. He might have nicked off.
He was composed under pressure. He's kicking in that 7 games that he has played right from the get-go. He's been able to hit targets. So glad that he referenced that. He just tries to put it on his teammate's chest, and he does that most times.
Yeah, he did. He does. You got him and Salem playing off half-back. They're going to find a target most of the time. I thought he took responsibility for Waitman at times as well. So, no, he's a beauty.
And what about that, Gary? He's got a premiership medallion around his neck. He's played 7 games. He has not sung the Melbourne song at the end of any game of football he's played for them so far. He's undefeated premiership champion.
That's just not on. I love it. I'm just going to grab... Hey, Wowie. Shane Woden won a Brownlow medal with the Melbourne Footy Club. He's over here in Perth.
No, one of my mates, one of the greats.
What about this?
How good's that?
We're on Fox Footy, mate, so don't swear. But you've been here in West Australia for a while now, and you've been part of a strong contingent of ex-Demons. How's that feel?
It's very exciting, isn't it? Unbelievable feeling right now. A bit emotional up in the stands. Just a bit scary there for a little while at half-time, but the boys are terrific, weren't they? And they can be very proud of their achievements and what they've done.
Played in the 2000 Grand Final, the last Melbourne team that's been represented on Grand Final day, and got a bit of a hiding on that day. This was pretty sweet once it got rolling through the third quarter.
Yeah, this is ecstasy, isn't it? The rooms wasn't like this 21 years ago, so I'm just so proud of the group, the club, everyone involved. It's an unbelievable feeling right now, and they can enjoy this, soak it up, embrace it, and bring it back to Victoria.
I want you to enjoy it. I'm going to get another ex-Demon. Well done, mate. I want you to have a look at this bloke.
Holding court.
Alan Jakovic has wandered in here. The great Alan Jakovic. You're on Fox Footy, Jacko. He grabbed me before, and you had tears coming down your cheek, big fella.
I did, mate. I did. I didn't think we'd ever live to see this, Gaz, and just fucking it up.
Yes.
Guilty. 20 bucks.
We're all right, Gaz. We're all right.
He's all right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But you did. I mean, your time with Melbourne was just absolutely spectacular, and then you were gone, but this meant so much to you. I've never seen you so emotional.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I just wanted to live, like we said before, Gaz, just in one lifetime, just to see it, just for our members and our supporters, suffered so long. This is for them.
Hey, Gary, can you ask him if the Dogs had won, would he have been in the Dogs room as well, being a former Bulldog?
No chance you would have wanted into the Dogs room if they won, mate. You got red and blue blood coursing through your veins. Eddie reckons you would have run in and jumped in the Bulldog room.
No, I don't think so, mate.
Hey, what's it like? I mean, do you feel like it's home here? Like you're back? I know he's got Wowie here and Adam Uze sitting over here has been so significant in the turnaround of this footy club. Does it feel like you're home?
Absolutely, mate. Good to see all the West Australian guys come in to support the guys. It's just been incredible. Like you said, Wowie and Darren Cowell over here, and you told me the other night at the casino, make sure you're there.
You weren't going to come down the rooms. I did run into you there, and I said, get down the rooms. You weren't so sure about it. I think you're pretty happy you're here now.
That's it, mate. Yeah, I had to listen to the old skip.
Hey, Gaz, what was it like? What was it like to be Jacko's decoy forward all those years back?
John Brown wants to know what it was like for me to be a decoy forward for you. I took the good defenders and I left Jacko with all the wood ducks. And what was the most you kicked in a game?
Oh, I don't know.
Yes, you do.
I don't know. Yeah, 11. Hey, Brownie, I just made him stay out of the way, mate. That was his job.
Get him out of the way. That's what we do here, Jacko.
Hey, Gaz, can you ask him, what does he think of number 13 these days? He can get a kick as well.
Yeah, number 13 in your jumper today goes all right.
Oh, he did incredible job, incredible. They just stand up every week, him and Petrarca. Don't they just do the job? We just come to expect that. And we talked the other night, Gaz, about the word dynasty. We can start talking about that now, can't we?
Well, Eddie just asked that question. I tried to play it down, but you can blow the lid off it. What about, and you did tell me the other night, you reckon Bailey Fritsch is just a sneaky little operator and he might slip under the guard. He's kicked 6 in the grand final.
Kicked 6, mate. What an effort, eh? What a performance. And we needed someone like that to step up and kick a bag just to help it along. And look at the score, but it looked after itself.
How'd you been out there? How many could you have contributed?
I would have kicked 9 tonight, I reckon.
Go and enjoy it. Grab me a beer, can you? I need to have a beer. Hey, Ed, have you got a minute? You got a minute? There's a young man who's at Fremantle last year. Who are we talking to? The family?
I got the fam.
Who, Mum and Dad?
Yep, Dad and Lorne.
Turn it around. Put it on the camera and show them. That's the Langdon family there. I've just interrupted so they could join in the conversation. Hey, good decision to come to this footy club.
Yeah, wild. Pretty crazy to think this is my home ground 2 years ago and here we are winning a premiership on it.
You've had a sensational couple of years. Oh, years, certainly, but the wing position you made your own. I mean, what was the basis for coming and how happy are you?
Well, incredibly happy, obviously. Yeah, I mean, Goody wanted me to play a specific role and it's not the most glamorous role at times, but you know, if it helps the team win, then I'm more than happy to play it.
I spoke to a couple of the boys last week about you and I said if you needed to get to someone who was the most low-key and the one that wouldn't get too uptight about all this, and your name kept coming up. So what was the week like in the build-up?
It was long. 2 weeks was probably a bit long for my liking, but no, I managed to sort of keep a pretty low profile for sort of 10 days and didn't think too much about it until a couple of days ago and then sort of all guns blazing.
Yeah, get back to your family, mate. It's a long-distance call. Well done. It's great. Got a premiership medal around his neck there, so just having a look. I think the boys are going to be settled in here for a long, long time, boys. It's like the old cricket team. They're just going to keep the whites on and not leave, and why would you want to leave? It's just unbelievable.
I want to know more about the night with Jacko at the casino the other night, Gaz.
Well, I can tell you this, Jonathan. I was working, and the big fella wasn't. So,
Gary, you've been sensational tonight. Just for us to sit back here and watch the joy for all the Melbourne supporters and your colleagues. You know, seeing Alan Jakovich in the room is just fantastic. As you said, it heals a lot of wounds, doesn't it? Peter Gordon said in 2016 he was able to pull together all these people who had various...
I've said many times, there's 100 blokes back at home that have helped drive this club and keep this club together as much and more than me, but I'm the lucky one. I'm here. And you talk about healing, you know, I don't ever think we were fractured as a footy club, but if you don't work at it in keeping a group together, you can just slowly drift apart. And you need someone, and you need a Rod Grinner or a Chris Connolly and those sorts of blokes that, you know, Paul Hopgoods and Anthony Ingersons and Stephen Powers, who might not, you know, be instantly recognisable, but they work overtime at keeping us all together. And this last 2 weeks has been like a family reunion, to be honest. And I think it's just been so significant, and I know they'd be watching at home. I've got my phone is not stopped buzzing. and they're locked up. Good luck trying to keep them locked up. That's what I'd be suggesting, and they'll be loving it.
Gary, I think Jack might have just passed you something, a nice, cool.
He did. I was a bit parched.
You're allowed to have. You can have a drink, mate. It's late at night. You can have a little gargle there, mate. Congratulations to you. Hey, Gaz, what we'll do? Grab somebody there. We're going to have a quick look at the Zero Lab.
Sure.
And we'll come back to you in a few moments' time. Gary Lyon doing a sensational job, and just the full joy of what's going on. Just wonderful. You were saying all your mates 19 years ago.
It happened, and they were energised from that 3 minutes, weren't they, Rui? And from that point on, Bulldogs just didn't even look like it. They couldn't get their hands on the footy.
It's stunning.
Yeah.
I think really we'll all need to go back and actually watch that period of play again, because you just couldn't see it coming. Not with that level of dominance from the Demons. When they were right under the pump prior to that Fritsch first goal.
Just quickly, Rui, we talk about the turnover game, how important it is, but you actually look at last year, Richmond, the best clearance stoppage team in the competition for that last month of football.
Yep.
The last 6 weeks of the season, Melbourne clearly the best stoppage team in the competition. So they blew Geelong off the park 2 weeks ago. And then in that third quarter, they've blown the Bulldogs off the park, who are a great stoppage team.
Yeah.
So 2 years in a row now, the dominant stoppage team has blown all the way before them.
Which bucked the trend for those sides compared to what they were for the rest of the year. So for the majority of the year, Melbourne were a great turnover team. But then they fixed their stoppage game up in the latter part of the home and away season. And as you said, through the finals, they were a force from stoppage. Tonight was a combination of both turnover and stoppage, but it just proves they didn't have one way to beat teams. They had a variety of ways to beat. I mean, you look at one of the big keys coming into the game, and that was Jake Lever. What sort of game was Jake Lever going to have? One intercept mark. His lowest intercept mark tally for the year, yet they're still able to come out and win the game by 74 points. So they had a variety of ways to beat you, Melbourne, and tonight was a great reflection of that.
Speaking of Jake Lever, let's go back to Gary Lyon, who's with him in the Melbourne rooms.
I got a man that's come over from Adelaide. He's played in one grand final. It didn't go the way he wanted, but this one certainly has. Jakey Lever, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, as you said, last one didn't go to plan, but this one, halfway through the second quarter, I thought it was going to go the same way, but to the boys' credit, the way that the midfield and the forwards and even the backs turned it around, it was amazing.
What changed?
I think as a backline group, I know that we spoke a lot about our contest behind the ball. It was pretty shabby in the first, especially in that second quarter. I think in the first quarter we were really good, but our contest behind the ball, it's been our strength all year. We've been able to win contests, neutralise them, and in that second quarter we weren't able to do that. And once that third quarter started, I thought that the Bulldogs sort of had their moments in that third quarter, but we were just able to, chip away and then, let the forwards and the mids do the rest.
They went to work on you. They tried as hard as they could to try and get the mismatch. Was that frustrating you at all?
Oh, look, I think that for the second half of the year, I think most weeks I've sort of dealt with something like that, but I sort of knew watching the game last week how successful Shaki was playing on a leer. I knew that they were going to throw something at me, but it was just about me sort of biting my tongue and really playing a team role, and whether that was if I went to sort of the higher small guy and I was playing on two blokes and we were able to get a spare, I was happy to do that, and I think it worked out in the second half especially.
I know how invested you are. Like I've watched it now at close quarters, and you're harsh on them and you're demanding on them, and the back six have been a bit of a group within a group, so you must be really proud of the way they've been able to come together, and it's been one of the major parts of the success of this footy side.
Yeah, I think that if you speak about the backline group, I'm so proud of what we've been able to achieve. We sat down at the start of the year and said that we wanted to be the best backline, in the competition. I think that we achieved that, and there was an example out there tonight. I think it was the Bulldogs. We were almost 50 points up, and Clayton Oliver didn't, stand on Bontempelli, and Bontempelli ended up wheeling around and kicking it down forward, and all the boys, there was 6 of them, whether it was Jake Bauer, whether it was Harrison Petty, these guys haven't played many games, but they all demanded that Clary, stood on Bontempelli next time and almost said, this is bullshit. What are you doing, Claz? And I think that just set the, set the tone for what we've been able to achieve this year and the standards that we set. And it all started day one pre-season, and to end like this, it's a bit of a fairy tale.
You got a couple of kids down there too. You got young Bowie. We just spoke to him in his 7th game, and as you said, Harrison Petty. So you're going to hang around for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Bowser, he's probably sitting there thinking, how easy is this? He's played 7 games, 7 wins. He's now a premiership player, and he's been such a calming influence on us. I think if you sat down at the start of the year and said to Jake Bauer that he's going to be a premiership player, and in the back line he would have shook his head and said no way. And the way that he's been able to work on his defensive side of his game, you can see naturally his offense stuff is phenomenal, but the way that he digs in and he trains like his life depends on, you know, his contest work, and I'm just so proud of him. And Harrison Petty, he's been my boy from day one. I've absolutely loved him since he walked in the footy club. We walked in the same year. He almost followed me around for the first year, and since then we've been doing weights together. We watch Vision together every week, and to see him play the way he did tonight, it's been fantastic.
Mate, well done. It's just a staggering performance today, and throughout the whole year. I know how big a role you played, so enjoy it. You're a premiership player.
Thank you very much, Gaz.
Jakey Lever. Boys, I've got Brian Taylor doing my running for me at the moment, so he's going to grab our guests that they've put into work. So
good stuff, mate.
I think they've settled in nice. I might try and get Kate Roffey at some stage, Ed.
Yes.
Just for your brethren who have the first time ever in a grand final, the two female presidents of the club. So I sat two up from Kate, and she was riding the bumps pretty hard as well. So it means so much to so many.
Good on you, Gaz. We'll come back to you in a few moments' time, mate. In the meantime, guys, we'll leave Gary there.
Just got the Norm Smith voting.
Oh, you got the votes?
Yeah. So the votes was unanimous. So Petrarca with 15 votes. So all 5 judges gave him the 3 votes. All 5 judges gave Bailey Fritsch the 2 votes, as you'd expect, and then 3 ones. So 3 votes to Clayton Oliver, 1 to Christian Salem, and 1 to Caleb Daniel.
Good stuff. Let's go back to Gary Lyon. Geez, in the old days it was Gary Lyons alongside a Brayshaw. It was the footy show. These days it's the Melbourne show. It's the Premiership show.
He's got the Brayshaw name covered here. He's a Premiership player. You got your uncle covered. You got your old man covered. You got everyone covered.
Well, geez, look, you can look at it like that. Despite how much of an idiot my uncle is and the rest of them.
Very good point.
Despite all that, it's really special to have him here. Yourself, all the people who are here tonight to be able to share in this moment. It's brilliant. Obviously, I'm feeling a lot for the people at home because there's all our supporters who are watching now, having not been able to come. But boy, oh boy, I just hope that everyone at home enjoyed the ride because I'll be honest, 19 points down in the second quarter. People would have potentially counted us out, but I'm so proud of our group to be able to stick fat and come back.
Was there panic at all? Did you have the belief and faith?
No panic. So that's what I've got immense confidence. We all have immense confidence in each other in terms of playing our role, and we knew that our defence was off a little bit. They were going really hard forward, and their midfielders, Treloar kicked 2, Bontempelli kicked 2 in that second quarter. And let's talk about the Bulldogs. Immense respect for them as a team. So we knew they were going to throw a punch, but we came in at half time, and we just bring it back to our defence and our contest. That's what we base our game on. And we came out in that third quarter. The first 10 minutes was exactly the way we wanted it in terms of just grinding it out. It was no one scored, but we got the game back into a contest. And then, far out, it's just so good, Gary. I can't. It was, and there's so many words you could say. I'm so happy for. I see the amount of work we've all put in. I see the sacrifices everyone makes. I see the past players. I see our supporters who have struggled for 57 years, and it's hard to put it all into words, but I feel fulfilled because 57 years ago was the last time I won a flag, and here we are today, and it's just so special for our club, mate, our club.
You're doing a bloody good job of putting it into words, let me tell you. I thought your game was, I got Brownie and Nick Revolt back there with Eddie Maguire. I thought this bloke was sensational on the wing. Clean when it mattered most, I reckon.
Right. One of the most courageous acts I've seen on a footy field, Gary, in that I think it was the third quarter when he went back into head-on into traffic and dived into where only angels fear to dare, or fear to tread. Yep. I just thought it was unbelievable. Great shine of courage, and that's why he deserved premiership winner now, mate.
High praise from Jonathan Brown. Said you showed one of the most courageous things that he's seen on a footy field for a long time. So it's what you got to do to win a premiership.
It meant a lot to me, and and the team. I feel like that third quarter. You talk about Petrarca, Oliver, Gawn. Our leaders stepped up, and our whole team stepped up. That was such a great team effort. I'm so proud of all our players, and that third quarter was incredible, and the final quarter as well. It was all incredible.
Got Danielle, your girlfriend, the great late Bud Frawley's daughter Danielle, sitting at home watching this. It's been hard for the partners, and we speak a lot about the ex-players, but the partners and the wives and the kids and everyone else is sitting at home, so they come along for the ride as much as everyone else, and this means a lot to them too, I'd imagine.
Well, absolutely. You know, I feel like our fans at back home get a lot of, you know, we all the time talk about how much we feeling our fans not being here, and they've been on the journey for 57 years for some of them, you know, and haven't seen success. So they get a lot of, you know, we're pretty conscious of them all the time, but I feel like sometimes the partners go a bit under the radar. The sacrifices that our families and partners and girlfriends and wives have made for us to be here in this moment, I feel like it's underrated personally. And Danielle, and it's not even Danielle, it's her like the whole family. It's a, you know, we've got a great club, and they're all a part of it. And so for them, this is as much for them as it is for us. It's all the sacrifices they've made as well make this possible. So, and mate, it's our club. It's our club. You're in it as well. We're all in it. It's as good as this is it.
I love it, mate. Go and enjoy it. Have a couple of beers, and I'll catch up with you a bit later. And don't let go of that. Angus Brayshaw, beautifully spoken, mate. That was sensational. Enjoy. I've got Kate Roffey here. I'll get a beer. Don't worry about that. So I gotta have to twist my arm. It's only 20 to 10 here, boys. Kate. This is a premiership. Just putting her beer down too, if you don't mind. A premiership president of a footy club, Eddie Maguire, back in the studio with Jonathan Brown and Nick Revold. How's it feel?
Oh, look, it's actually, Gary, as we were sitting there watching, and I'm like, is this really going to happen? And I said, is 40 points up enough? Is 50 points up enough? And it seemed like it was in the end. But yeah, I'm so proud of this club and everyone that's been involved on this journey for so many years. It's amazing. And for the Melbourne Football Club, you know, we're back in the centre of the AFL universe. It's just huge, isn't it?
And it's been a long time coming. So we've spoken a lot, but so many people involved in this club back in Melbourne, and they would be having the time of their lives looking at this and wishing they were here, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And particularly to the families of the players. You know, they've been away for more than a month now, and they haven't seen their families and their partners. So firstly, I know you'll be watching. Thank you so much for letting us have your men over here, and to all the supporters who are out there. And, you know, this is for you. Our guys played their hearts out to make sure that the people back home in Melbourne who couldn't be here at least get to have a premiership cup. And I can tell you, when we're allowed out of lockdown, we're going to fill the MCG and we're going to relive the whole thing.
Sounds great. Go and enjoy that beer.
Thanks,
so there you go, guys. It is it's just getting started here, I reckon.
Gary,
Can't have a beer, mate.
What is on the agenda tonight? Is there a form guide just yet to what's going to happen? What tomorrow? Have they got something planned in Perth? I suppose a street parade or something like that. Or
yeah, they have. So the winners had been organised to go into the city, the equivalent of Federation Square here in Perth, and be presented to the fans. So the boys will do that, and I think they got the Scarborough pub sorted out and locked up, and that would be a dangerous place tomorrow afternoon, I reckon. But it's just a great sense. And the other thing I really enjoyed, I am going to talk about Melbourne, is how they've handled success this year. I think it speaks to the maturity of the group, but there's been no getting ahead of themselves. I love the way that they've, remained humble through all of this, and even now, they're having a great time. But there's a great sense of, the disappointment for the Western Bulldogs along the way. So, just so proud of the way they've carried themselves. So it all adds up, I reckon.
Yeah, it does, Gary, and particularly, as you say, with so many people going through such a hard time right around the country, but particularly here in Victoria, and the sacrifice for Melbourne members who've been there all the way, who haven't been able to see a game hardly this year, and then to be able to, to watch the grand final. Finally, the D's win one, and it's not in front of the MCC faithful. But your point is 100% right. The tone of the Melbourne Football Club this year has just made it so enjoyable. I mentioned to you before the game, Stephen Smith sent me a note the other day just saying how much he loves seeing you on the television representing him as a supporter and a player, and that seems to have permeated right throughout the organisation.
100%. And again, I see that all, through these messages. And again, it has reconnected us with Stephen Smith and Peter Giles and Stephen Ick, and you go way back through that group. And it's great because they went through a tough time too as players. They didn't see a hell of a lot of success, and so they have been riding this as hard as any of the playing groups. So I'm thrilled. I'm never going to experience as a player, but I have now as a supporter, and tastes great, and now my hope is that, and I mean this sincerely, that the great mate Nick Riewoldt in there does get to experience it as well, because it's as good a feeling as I've had in footy.
Good on you, mate. Enjoy it. You might enjoy this next bit, mate. We're going to go and listen to the song now, listen to the Melbourne team and the song, and then we're going to say goodnight. And when we come back, something that you'll be doing all summer, Gary, we're going to watch the replay and watch Melbourne win again by 74 points. It gets better every time you watch it, Gary. I can promise you, mate. You'll be able to watch the grand final marathon now and just wait for your team to come on and celebrate in big time. Gaz, can I just say once again, on behalf of all your friends back here in Melbourne, to all your colleagues, fantastic effort for you. Well done for putting yourself through the 2 weeks of the quarantine, but an amazing job, and you've really brought the feeling from inside the room. So great journalism and great passion, and well done, mate.
Thanks for all your support, boys, back at Fox. You've been fantastic, and you know, we'll do it all again next year, and I think I might go and have that beer now.
Gary, it's a grand old flag, and we're going to hear it in the best tradition since 1964. You know what they did that night? Ron Barassi and all the team went into the Bull Ring bar at the MCG with a cup. They stood up on top of the bar and they walked around singing this very song. It hasn't been sung with the ultimate success since 1964. That was until tonight.